And we are live from Austin, Texas. It's July 31st, 2024, but it's also the first day of football camp. I'm here with Eric Nalin, my Inside the Program partner. I'm Justin Wells with Inside Texas, with the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com. Eric, this was the first day. This is what we've been waiting for the last 8, almost 9 months. A lot of stuff going on, but today we got as much access today as I could ever remember being there.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw it all to you. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's just open it up with the quarterbacks. We're going to start on offense. We're going to start with the quarterback position, one of the strongest in the program. Eric and I both got to check these guys out. Why don't you let them know what you saw first?
Well, I focused more on defense. That was my assignment. But I was able to see the quarterbacks. Of course, you're always going to watch the quarterbacks when they have a room like that. You're going to steal some snaps over there. Man, they look good. Justin told me maybe they struggled a little bit at first. Trey Owens might have, but when I saw them, man, it was pitch and catch with all of them. The ball gets out quick. The ball is accurate for the most part. There were a couple plays where the ball was accurate, and the defensive back made a play or two. But this is the best I've ever seen 3 quarterbacks look at Texas at the same time. I'm not saying Trey Owens is ready right now. But the arm talent is there. You can't really tell any difference in arm talent between the 3 of them. They all have their strengths, their weaknesses, not even weaknesses, but they're better at some things than others.
Right.
But all 3 of them have the arm to play at a high level. And, we know what to expect out of Quinn. I know what to expect out of Arch. Justin does as well. I came away going, man, Trey Owens is just like these guys, or at least very similar when it came to pitch and catch.
Yeah, well, you said it. You get to watch these guys practice. There's only going to be a few years of getting to soak this in, because these guys are going to be throwing the ball on Sundays one day. There is no drop-off from first to second. There's none. The only drop-off is Arch is a little bigger in the britches. Both of them look fantastic. Trey, he had maybe some early-day jitters because that velocity, that ball was coming out sharp. But, hey, the quarterback position under Sark is always going to probably be in great shape, and that's our takeaway from day one.
I got to say something else, though, because the Summer Olympics are going on. My favorite thing to watch in sports is the 200 meters when they come around the turn. My second favorite thing is to watch Quinn Ewers throwing out. I mean, that thing is on a line. It is beautiful. It spirals. It rotates. It is about the prettiest thing. It's like watching Ken Griffey Jr. swing. That might be a little heretical for Justin, but it's a thing of beauty, man. The quarterbacks are just, it's a mental space game. Obviously, they've got to figure out the processing and all that to really take advantage of the offense. But as far as arm talent, we could talk for hours about it.
Yeah, and Quinn's natural. It's just natural to him, whereas Arch is a little more mechanical but refined. It's just so natural for Quinn, and I think that's why he's going in the first round next year. Running backs, not a lot to glean when they're not in pads, but we did get to see him get a little bit of depth chart stuff, and we did get to see him catching the balls out of the backfield. I noticed, from starting at the beginning, you had Cedric Baxter, you had Jaden Blue. Those were your first 2. Trey Wisner came in third, and then you had Jarrett Gibson and Christian Clark coming up behind those guys. A lot of depth, a lot of size. Baxter looks a little bigger. Baxter looks a little bit more polished. He looks like your All-American type back. And then Jaden Blue was scooting as usual.
Yeah, I didn't watch running backs again. I focused on defense. But, man, Baxter just fits what they like to do with Sark. They want to run it up the gut. They want to draw that safety up and then throw it over his head. However, I think once the lights come on, Jaden Blue is going to be as good as any running back in the country. I do compare it to Jonathan Brooks last year. I was absolutely shocked that Cedric Baxter got the nod over Jonathan Brooks. And Baxter got dinged, and he was a freshman. But it played out that Brooks might not have been Sark's ideal preference stylistically, but Jonathan Brooks was the best running back in the country for 8 or 9 weeks in a row last year. I think Jaden Blue's the same thing. He just doesn't quite fit Sark's preferences. They're both going to play, but in September, October, November, Jaden Blue's going to become a household name.
Tashard Choice was definitely getting on him. I know he got on Jarrett Gibson for lack of hustle in one drill, and he also praised Baxter for getting low in the hole in another. And you can hear these coaches. We have to put a lot of this stuff on mute, guys, because it is.
Oh yeah, they're whipping him into shape. One of the DB coaches was getting on one freshman for not wearing his helmet. It's like everybody else is wearing your helmet. What makes you special? It was funny. It's funny to listen to. Hey man, they're freshmen. It's like having a toddler. They're great. They're great toddlers. They got a lot of upside, but you still got to whip them into shape.
Man, the fun thing about these quarterbacks is who they're throwing to, and there's a lot of new faces. Got a lot of new moving parts that we're trying to figure out. Early on, Jonte Cook and Isaiah Bond were your 2 outside guys. They were getting the reps early with that first team. But Ryan Wingo's hands are huge. Silas Bolden is maybe the quickest player on the field. At least it seemed that way. I can see why all the reports we had heard over the summer how explosive he is. He is just fast, just another level. Matthew Golden had a couple good catches. Isaiah Bond dropped a couple, but then also had probably the catch of the practice. He caught one over the middle from Trey Owens that was thrown a little too high and behind, and he still snagged it, so he brought that one down. Were you able to catch anything, glean anything from the receivers?
I saw a ball that Bond didn't come up with, and then I saw another one on a deep ball, deep vertical. It was a little disconcerting when Bond had a couple drops in the spring game because he is probably right now, not overall the most talented, but probably right now the most ready to perform at a high level. I'm not going to say his ceiling's not as high as Wingo's, and I think Matthew Golden is going to do a lot of things this year. But right now, Bond is your leader in the clubhouse if you're thinking about who's going to lead the team in catches. The problem is he might lead the team in drops as well, and that's not going to fly with Sark very long. I'm not surprised to hear about Bolin. We've been writing about that. I think there's going to be a lot of usage similar to Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill, but clearly Sark is a fan of Mike McDaniel. And I think I'm glad to hear that you saw the same thing our sources have been saying.
And also DeAndre Moore. Didn't see him miss anything. That guy is as solid as it gets. I just feel like he is going to see this field this year. He's another year in the system. I think that's going to benefit him. But it was also good seeing Jonte. Tight end. Listen, if you ever watch Jeff Banks during drills, you might want to put in some earplugs. That man gets after it. Not so friendly words. But listen, I got to tell you something. They all look strong. They all look good. Spencer Shannon looks fantastic. He's coming off his injury. I thought Jordan Washington was the most physically imposing tight end, and that's your freshman that enrolled in the spring. Also got to see Amari Nyblack. He looks pretty sleek. Banks got onto him a little bit for the lack of aggressiveness in the blocking, but all those other guys made up for it. Juan Davis actually had a nice little catch in one of the drills with the quarterbacks as well. Were you able to see any of those guys?
No, I did not watch the tight ends. Watched all defense. But look, man, Jordan Washington, when Jatavian dropped to the third round, I said that Jordan Washington's going to get drafted higher than Jatavian did. And I stand by that. That guy can catch, he can block, he can run. He looks like $1 million. I love what Banks said about Juan Davis yesterday in his press conference about he'll catch that linebacker coming through the A gap and block. I'm excited about the group. The group's going to be good. Gunnar Helm has a good chance to be drafted, I think. Amari Nyblack, kind of a differentiator.
Yeah.
Really going to hurt a lot of defensive when they try to play Texas big with big personnel and 12 personnel. He's going to hit them deep and across the seam. So I feel really good about tight end. And you know what? The funny thing about it is tight end, if you went across the board, they might have the lowest ceiling in the program, given that Jordan Washington is a freshman. Ask me that question a year from now when he's on the field with Nick Townsend right now, and they're still going to be good.
Yeah, and Gunnar Helm was running with the ones, and he is as solid as it gets. But again, Jordan Washington is noticeably more physical and athletic than the other guys. And so give Banks and those guys good for finding him. Let's finish up the offensive line. That was my job to hang out with those big hog mollies. And I got to tell you, everything we reported in the summer is coming to fruition, at least after the first day of practice. Your first team left tackle to right tackle is Kelvin Banks, Hayden Connor, Jake Majors, DJ Campbell, and Cam Williams. And the backups, left tackle to right tackle, Trevor Gooseby, Cole Hudson, Connor Robertson, Nato Umeozulu, and Andre Kojo. Of note, Brandon Baker looked great. He had some run at right tackle whenever Kojo wasn't over there. He did a little bit of combo blocking as well. Baker looks like the part, but there's just so many big, developed, veteran offensive linemen. Yeah. And, Cam Williams really looks good. I'm starting to regret my 335 shot. Like, he might be slimmed down. He looks fantastic. Connor Stroh, I thought, looked fantastic. Kojo looks fantastic. But really, Kelvin Banks, just monster. And one guy to watch, Daniel Cruz. I know Majors is the incumbent. I know Connor Robertson's your backup. And I know Cole Hudson can play center in a pinch if they had to. Daniel Cruz looks as sleek and as in shape and as strong as ever. That's exactly what you want your young center, I think, to look like. And so, God forbid nothing happens to Majors. But to me, the takeaway was Trevor Gooseby just moves people, and Daniel Cruz looks fantastic.
Gooseby caught my eye coming off the bus. I don't remember his number from last year. He didn't play. The first thing I did was look at our pamphlet and see who that was, and he looks really good. He looks like the future at left tackle. They do such a good job of bridging the gap between finding elite guys that everybody wants the 5 stars, and then the guys that might go to TCU. You can't let TCU have these first-round draft picks or these early-round draft picks. Joseph Noteboom a couple years ago was a miss. Avila a couple years ago was a Texas miss. This would have been another Texas miss had they not flipped him from TCU. Great job identifying talent.
Now we're going to go to the defensive side, and that's where my man E was hanging out on that side of the field. I was able to catch a little bit of the secondary, but he's going to get all that front seven. What did you see on the defensive line, and what were you able to glean right now?
Well, again, you need a telescopic lens, and Will Gallagher, our photographer, let us down on that to really see what's going on the other side of the world over there at Dinius. Watching them warm up, if you just watch them warm up, you would think that Vernon Broughton was the leader of that defensive tackle room. He was first, front and center, and everything I saw. Looked really good physically, flexible. They do a lot of flexibility drills where Broughton and Dre Bledsoe are noticeably a little bit different than everybody else. Alfred Collins might not have been going 100% in that, but Broughton looked really good. Sadir Mitchell, everybody asks about him, so we might as well get to him. He's kind of like the inverse of Cameron Williams. Everybody asks about their size. He did look slimmed down. I watched him in pursuit drills last year, and I'm like, oh, man, he's got a ways to go. Remembering that visual in my head, I watched him again this year, and he does look noticeably better. Not going to win any foot races, but that's not his job. His job is to command the first 5 yards. He looks a lot better. I like Bill Norton. He's the second biggest defensive tackle outside of Sadir Mitchell. I thought, what I saw of him, he moved well. Tia Savea is the smallest of the first 5 guys that we expect to play a lot. I hope they loop him around. He's just not as big as I was expecting, and I noticed that in the spring. It kind of holds true. But you're also watching him against, sort of NFL prototypes, and Alfred Collins, 6'5", 320 pounds, and Vernon Broughton's a big guy as well. Didn't get to watch them a lot in drills. I watched them working the sleds a little bit. They were getting after it, sweating. I didn't see much looping and stunning. You're not going to see that really in that setting yet. They might have been doing it 20 minutes after we left. Who knows? We'll get a lot more intel about that. Remember that these are open practices. This is not the real intel. The real intel is going to take place over the next couple of weeks when nobody's there. All right, that's why you sign up to Inside Texas.
And just a couple notes on Savea. I saw him in one drill get rolled up behind. He was kind of limping off, but he looked like it was just precautionary. And that was pissing off a few of the coaches.
Since he was limping off, should he call any lawyers that you know?
There is one that he should call. It's the same one that Bill Norton needs to call, because I think he brought a few extra pounds with him from Arizona. He was a little bigger than I thought. But Andre the lawyer's the guy. This video is brought to you by that guy. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury cases, from car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Do not let the insurance company tell you what your claim is worth. That's what Andre the lawyer's for. Give him a call at 214-444-8808. He has principal offices in Dallas, Texas, but he will serve Texans throughout the state. Don't wait. If you're in trouble, call the man, Andre the lawyer, 214-444-8808. Linebacker time, Eric, and you got a chance to glimpse over there. We know about Anthony Hill. We know about David Benda. What else do we need to know?
Well, yeah, we're going to have to loop them in with the edges. We can essentially call the edge linebacker. The NFL will call them outside linebacker, whatever, man. I didn't get to see a ton of the actual linebackers. I did watch the edge as much as I could. Trey Moore was out there with the first team along with Barron Sorrell. Sorrell's been muscled up since he arrived, but there's always just a little bit of maybe unnecessary weight that he didn't need that probably kept him from having enough twitch to really run the arc and get after the quarterback. He looked really lean. Still muscled up, but still lean, and I'm wondering if he's going to have a little bit better get off, a little bit better bend, and maybe inflate those sack numbers up to 8 or so. If he has an 8-sack season, of course, that'll come down to how many opportunities he has on third down. They're going to run some packages and whatnot, but he looked really good. Ethan Burke, I thought he lost a little bit of that freshman 15 he gained.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of that baby fat still hanging on to him last year. He looked a little bit leaner, long as ever. I watched him working the sled from afar, and he was really getting that thing off the ground. He still plays really low. That's what makes him so good. He's not just long, but he plays with good leverage. Those three are going to be pretty much the bedrock for edge. Colin Sims, come on. He can definitely get stronger when you just watch him working the sled against other players, and some of them are bigger than him, no doubt. But his explosiveness was readily evident. Very excited about him. It's a stacked room, man. It's the best room that they've had in a long time. It's the best room Texas has had in a long time. Really, they hadn't had an edge rusher since Joseph Osai, and even before that, it was bare. They haven't had this number of depth players. Really like what I see. As far as linebacker, man, I watched Benda and Hill. Benda's a bowling ball at this point.
Yeah,
he looks like a bowling ball running back playing linebacker. we need more than just drills to understand what's going on. It's a cerebral position. If we hear that he's playing faster in the coming weeks, they're going to have a really good duo, above average duo. Of course, everybody's high on Anthony Hill. Didn't really see a lot of the backups, but we'll be covering that closely. I saw Maurice Blackwell. You can't miss him just because he's out there on special teams. He's out there pretty much, moving around at full speed at all times. But I didn't get to see any drill work.
The secondary. We're going to start off at corner, and Manny Muhammad, Gavin Holmes, Javion Cole. Who did you notice? Who stood out? I saw Jahdae Barron playing some corner and making a little bit of hay over there as well. What did you catch?
Yeah, the most interesting I saw in the secondary was they were doing some 7-on-7 with their matching routes from the offense, not the number one offense, but simulated from walk-ons. And there were times out there where Jahdae Barron was the number one boundary corner, Jalen Gilbo was the star, and Malik Muhammad was the field corner.
Right.
Now that's very interesting because Malik Muhammad played in the boundary last year because he processes better and faster, and life comes at you fast in the boundary. They felt better about him there than anybody else. Jahdae Barron is known for his instincts and his processing ability, but he might not be a field corner. So if you can have him in the boundary and Malik Muhammad, who can blanket anybody, even if he's not the twitchiest guy you've ever seen, that could be a difference-making for the defense. You got Jalen Gilbo. They feel really good about him at star. That had my gears turning. Maybe Jahdae Barron in the boundary, Malik Muhammad in the field, Gilbo at star. They could be onto something there. But it's easy to watch the secondary in these practices because they're right in front of you.
That's why it's easy to talk about safety. You saw a lot of safety. I caught a little bit of it. Michael Taft is the incumbent. Andrew Makuba looks sharp. You even mentioned Xavier Filsaime looks a little bit bigger than we expected. I thought Jelani McDonald looked fantastic. What were your takeaways from those guys?
Yeah, sticking with McDonald, when he signed with Texas, a part of the evaluation was potential linebacker. I think, they're coming fresh off the Marvin Overshown. Yeah, that's fine. I hadn't seen him in person. I was going off inside sources, and inside sources are not always right. They're right more often than not in inside Texas. But
amen.
He's going to be a big safety, but he's not going to outgrow the position. Like I said, it's a perfect selling point for Jonah Williams. If you want to talk a little recruiting here, we don't, but that stuck out to me. Michael Taft is the leader of that room. That's evident just watching them. He goes first no matter what. Derek Williams is right behind him, followed by Andrew Makuba and then McDonald. Pretty good rotation there. Definitely an upgrade over last year. I know there's always some people talking about Michael Taft. Michael Taft's a really good player. He looked really quick. He looked as quick as anybody else in drills. He's not going to win 100 against some of these guys, but he is very quick. Short area quickness is huge, especially when you have the recognition skills that he has. Filsaime was bigger than I expected. When you watch his tape, he's not the most physical guy you've ever seen. I thought he was going to be a little bit slider build. He's pretty filled out. So once he gets the mental side down, I think he's going to be able to play quite a bit. Maybe not this year, but next year for sure. Jordan Johnson-Rebell, he definitely looks the part. I think that guy's going to be a future boundary safety, field general sort of guy that accumulates a lot of tackles. Really good. They've done a wonderful job upgrading the overall talent, the baseline talent in the safety room. I'm still expecting a 4-man rotation there between Taft, Makuba, Williams. I'm not sure how those three are going to sort out. Two of those three are going to start. You're going to probably need a heady guy back there with Jelani McDonald. Even though Jelani McDonald is an instinctive, smart player, he still needs to get more reps. Processing back there comes at you really fast. Safety's upgraded over last year, no doubt.
Yeah, it really has the athleticism in that room from the last 2 years. Major improvement. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me one, as we wrap this up, give me one major takeaway from day one.
Well, it goes back to how much time they let us have out there. Last year I noticed I made the same observation. Hey, they really like this team. They're letting us be out there and cover it. They're giving us more access than they had in the past. They're right to be confident. We know they're confident. Our inside sources who know a lot of these guys, can tell us that they're confident, but their actions also say it as well. It's a big, fast, physical team. It's very talented, lots of skill. Basically the same. It just affirmed all of what we kind of heard or thought coming into the practice. They're very high on the team, and they should be. They've done a lot of work to retool this whole roster. This is a year where they should compete for the national championship. It could be a year where they don't win the SEC and win the Natty. It's going to be a wild ride. Coming inside Texas, check it out. Ride it with us.
Absolutely. My main takeaway is depth. Same thing I said after spring ball. This team is just loaded at depth. Even when there's holes, there's depth there. It may not be elite talent, but there's still depth. They're still developing guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining us on this special edition after the first Texas football practice. We're sure excited for the season. Come see us at InsideTexas.com. This is the best time to absolutely sign up. Come hang out with us. This is going to be a fun month before Colorado State comes to Austin on August 31st. For Justin Wells, that's Eric Nalin. We do this thing at Inside Texas. Thank you for making us part of your day and being a part of the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.